Yeah, I have a bit on stage where I tell people, ladies, if you're with a man right now, he's with you because he believes in his heart that you're the best that he can possibly get, which is a compliment to you. But
Ooh.
just know that if he thought he could get better, he would try. We don't, guys
That's
don't settle.
sad.
But it's the truth though. Guys don't settle. Guys aren't like, oh, you
Women
know what?
do.
Women
Women
settle all the time,
do.
Ye-
which is my whole point to the rest of the bit where I go on and talk about like women settle. If it wasn't for women settling, I would still be a virgin. So I appreciate you ladies settling because I'm Mr. Settle. I'm like,
The
well, he's a nice guy.
hmm.
So why not have sex with him? That's who I am. So I appreciate you, but I don't.
The
Guys
problem is
don't
in
do
the
that.
self-evaluation. When you think you're too hot, you're like, what? That's a real. When someone sets you up with one of their friends, that's how you learn how hot you think your friends think you are. Like,
Yeah,
like all of a sudden you're just like,
sure.
is this what they? Is this it? Is this what they think I? Oh no! You're like, oh, my friends do not respect me.
Yeah, I never had a friend
Yeah,
set me up, so that's
it
even
annoyed me
worse.
when
I think.
it annoyed me when I had an ex who thought they could do better. I knew that they couldn't, and I was
Mhm.
just like, no, you got lucky for this to begin with. This
Yeah.
was you accidentally pulling the royal flush. You usually
See,
can't get someone.
here's the part that bothers me. I believe I know who you're
They
talking
suck.
about. I believe I know who you're talking about, and yet it still baffles me that if I'm correct, it would still baffle me that they would think that way because it's like you had your entire relationship people like doing this when they realized you were together. Like you're with her,
Hey,
she's
we're
with
not
you.
sure who she's talking about. Okay,
But again, like I
we're
said, I
we're all
believe.
unaware and not going to make super specific generalizations because there's no way to know. There's no way to know who she could be talking about.
Hello,
Hello.
hello, what's up, bro?
Hey, it's the What's Up Bro podcast. We talk movies, sports, TV shows, pop culture, and it's funny, motherfuckers. With Nery Signs. I'm like, what? How can this... They have Photoshop. Photoshop exists when this artist rendition was done. How the fuck is this not cooler looking than a sketch that looks like it was done by a hillbilly off the side of the road? What the fuck are we talking? Why is this a thing?
Welcome to the party, pal.
Steph, Uni Mayor Senior.
Yeah, I don't have to look for you.
Oh, no,
So you're telling me there's a chance?
And Mike Markadal.
I'm just glad I like vanilla, boring sex like this. I'm glad that the sex I enjoy won't get me killed.
That's how winning is done.
Hey, I'm Dave Chappelle, and this is What's Up, Bro.
All right. And we're live or recording, which however you're listening to us. Welcome to the What's Up Bro podcast, your favorite podcast where you come to watch and hear people talk, debate, and argue over things that they usually don't have anything, they don't know anything about. But we try. I am
Every
Nery
once in a
Science
while.
with me. Every once in a while. I am Nery Science. With me as usual is Mike Mercadal. Mike. Mike. You know what it is? You know what it is? It's WuBro Wednesday.
Okay.
Woo! Thursday for me.
And that is the sound of Steph
Oh,
Animator Senior.
Yep.
that one was
So thank you
unsettling.
guys. I know. I wanted to make sure you were like, did he get disconnected?
Did he freeze? He froze. He froze. Uh-oh. Oh my god, he froze.
Did were telling me that having problems with my connection.
Oh, you
I
did
honestly-
actually.
I could not tell if it was bit. I could not tell if it was a bit.
That was
That's my thing, baby.
Why are you over on that side today?
Well, it's because you logged in first.
That's true. I did log in first.
It's fine. It doesn't make a difference. Does it matter? Speaking of kickflicks,
Kickflix merch on sale on some
merch on
website.
sale on link in bio. Anyways, so a couple of things we've learned. If you were watching us 2 minutes ago or 4 minutes ago, you learned that the best compliment to pay somebody is to say that you're as pretty as you can possibly be.
You're as pretty
Right?
as you get.
Yeah, this is
Never
as
say
good
that.
as you get. As
Never
good
say
as
that
you
unless
get.
you want to see someone cry.
That's like when
Right?
people like I saw somebody sign. It was like a TikTok thing about someone shutting somebody else down, and was like, "Fuck you, you piece of shit." Really like eloquently telling someone, like sending them to hell, and then at the end he goes, "May you have the day you deserve." And I
Oh
was like,
yeah,
"Ooh, that's a stinger. That's a good one. That's mm-hmm.
that is my
Hey,
And
favorite.
have I'm not
my
gonna
my response to that would be K. Just one letter, K. And you're like, you son of a bitch.
No,
You
yeah,
wrote all of that.
I
have
do.
the day you deserve is the bless your heart of the modern era.
Yeah. I wish that like those are those eloquent. Like every once in a while they trend on like Instagram or something like that. Like someone or Reddit or something. They'll post like the oh god, Winston Churchill writing letters where this woman was like, that she hated him,
Oh
and he's like,
yes.
if you were my husband, I would poison your tea, and then he replied back along with other stuff. He's like, madam, if you were my wife, I would drink it. And I'm like, damn, yes. Like all of these really eloquent, like fucking owns. It's better than
Yes.
when you hear someone just like calling somebody a libtard or whatever on the internet, and you're like, come on, man, at least. Like
I don't
Be
think
creative.
I don't think puns are like. I think puns are like cute if you've never heard them before. You're like, oh, libtard. Oh, I get it. You combining two words, okay, and that's where it goes. Like the moment you start using it more than once, you're like, oh, it's no longer. It's already out now. Everybody already knows about that.
Like
So,
cuck.
like
Remember? Okay.
when I first heard amosexual, I was like, that's funny. And that's what I
Amosexual is very
thought.
funny.
I was like, that's funny. And but then when you
I still find it
start calling
cringy.
but when you still call people homosexual all the time, you're like, it's lost.
You got to
it's
get
no
fresh
longer the
ones in
thing.
there. You got to get fresh ones in there. And I forgot. Fuck if I was gonna. Before you said amosexual, or what was it that you said? Shit.
Libtard.
Oh, cuck. Okay, so we were talking about. I was hanging out. I actually got to hang out with Watkins in person. We were finally
We're gonna end up on the wrong side of the internet.
No.
Just
Well,
by saying those words.
who knows? But we were talking about like, what about like the dudes who actually like to watch other men have sex with their wives? Like they had to have been, at the very least, like an adjustment period where like they did not think they were like, are you talking about me? Oh no, okay, good. You're talking about that Democrat? Okay, cool. You know, like there's guys
I don't
that
know. I don't know what
their
you're talking
kink.
about. I don't know what you're talking about. In the
Cuckolding.
political.
A cuckold?
Yeah, I know what cuckold is, but I don't know what it means when you call them because
That
you're
was
saying it as if there's a political reference, and I'm like,
yes, that's what
It's-
Republicans were using. Trump Republicans were using at the beginning of the whole Trump thing about anybody who was like voicing dissent against Trump. They call you a cuck. Like you watch. Oh, you're like such a weak
basically-
man that you
It
want.
was basically they want to emasculate people in order to make them seem weaker. So
I
that their
never
argument sounded
heard
stronger.
that. I never heard it be used in that way before. I have only heard it been used in the proper
Appropriate,
definition.
yeah, in the
like
appropriate setting.
yeah,
But
yeah,
it's true,
like in
like-
Hamilton. Like you go, okay, that makes sense. Go ahead.
But that's what they were calling everybody cuck, and there had to have been a lot of actual cucks out there that are like, "Fucking, oh, you need a new word," you know, like, you know.
I don't want
should
an
ask,
association.
the guy who bangs my wife what we should name ourselves.
You know, oddly enough, and this is total conjecture, but I think actual cucks would be Republicans. Would be like
That's actually a thing that all of the like everywhere that's super anti like anti LGBT is where Pornhub has the most searched gay porn.
yeah,
Or like
yeah.
the like literally you just
The red states,
geographically.
yeah, the red states are literally the gay states.
They
Like,
are
literally
according to Pornhub, the Democratic map is flipped. Well, I'm probably not flipped, but at the very least, heavily weighted to people who who are like searching for gay porn.
I would like to know that Venn. I would like to see that Venn diagram of actual cucks and people who voted for Trump. Like I want to see that Venn diagram. Is it a complete circle?
It could be a circle. I was just gonna say it might be to the visible a waxing moon. You know, just like a tiny sliver of that circle.
Sliver. Yeah.
Just a little bit.
I would love to see that because I can't like and listen, I watch a lot of we've established this. I watch a lot of porn, and
Get out of
whenever I see porn that happens to have a cook in it, it's always the dude, the stereotypical dude that looks like he would vote for Trump. Like I'm at one point, I think I saw a red hat. Like I saw one of them wearing. I don't know what I was like, like it was one
That
of
had
those
to have
things
been
where
they're in on it. I do not like watching porn where they're in on the bit. Does that make sense? Like just conceptually?
You don't want them to
Well,
break the fourth wall.
Yeah.
I only
if
watch
it's a-
I only watch amateur shit. I haven't watched like porn like production value porn. I haven't watched that. in
See,
a
I
really
like
long
I
time.
like
Value
production
porn.
value. I like knowing there's a budget.
you like a
Yeah.
blowing curtain in the wind.
Yeah,
I want to know that it's a craft service table and everyone
I-
is welcome.
I actually don't. Would not. Probably shouldn't eat at that craft table though. Are these cream filling? Kind of.
They're not wasted. I honestly look as someone who's been on set of a movie. It can't be any worse than some of the movies and TV shows that I've been on the set of, where it's like,
What? How is that? How can you possibly believe that a porn production?
I saw
crew
roaches
table-
at craft services and like dirt, like just dirty
What?
food and
Oh,
like
dirty.
and
Did you see?
I was
Did you see
taking care
cum
of your
and
craft
KY
service
jelly?
table.
Did you see KY jelly?
I-
And
there's
cum on
no
the
saying
table?
that there wasn't on there, and at least in a porno, it's professional cum, and it's like
Oh.
it's tested exactly.
Whereas like a lot of the film shoots that I've been on, stuff like that, I would not let a lot of the grips touch me. I no, because
That's-
their hands have just been everywhere. No one's washing their hands on set.
Also, don't touch people who don't want to be touched. But yeah, they're probably dirty.
I was meaning it in a consensual way.
Oh, fair enough. That just goes to show some of the sets that I have been on. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, don't do that.
Please stop.
Please don't do that.
That makes me sad because every behind the scenes, whenever the topic of craft tables comes up, like craft,
Mhm.
they always like speak very highly of them. The ladies from the office talk about how
I always
great their
gave
food
I always
was
gave
and-
good crafty to my sets.
yeah.
I always
So-
made sure everyone was well fed.
John Panette one time when I was working with him, I said something to the extent of talking about I go, what do you want for your intro? And he goes, whatever you want. I go, all right, Revenge of the Nerds Part 4, got it. And then he said, no, let's leave the A+ stuff off the table. Let's leave that,
Yeah.
whatever.
I don't
So we
want
were
to
just,
sound
you know-
like ego's too big.
Yeah. And so we were joking about that. And then his buddy that was with him brought up the craft table. He's like, oh, was it a bad shoot? Was it like bad craft table? And he was like, if it was about the craft table, that would be number one on my call list as far as like it, like, just
Priority.
bragging rights or like whatever the fuck introduction is like that craft service was like he remembered the craft service from a shitty B movie.
God,
and
you know
was
what?
fucking-
I could tell you which ones were good and bad. Like that is a very like because
Ninja Turtles. I need to know. Ninja Turtles is a big production, right? That's got to be good, right? Oh no! Oh
Wait,
no!
I wasn't. I
Aw,
was. I will
no.
say this. I will say this. There was a lot of time, like, have I described the clusterfuck that was the TMNT2 day that the 2 days that I worked there?
No,
No.
It was a
all I know about that
fucking
is that
mess.
you saw what's his name?
Yeah,
And you took a
that's
picture
where I
with
got
him.
that picture. Yeah.
Yes. keep it in mind.
I was a stand-in. So if you don't know what a stand-in is, that when they set up the lights and they're figuring out all the angles and doing all this stuff, they don't have the main actor standing there. The main actor's over and they're comfortable in their seats or in their trailer doing whatever the fuck they have a stand-in, the B team. I am roughly the same size and shape as whatever actor they're going to use, so that I stand there and they dress me whatever. And I was
Seamus, by the way. His name
Yeah.
is Seamus.
I was doing stand-in for Seamus Rocksteady in the thing because I had that big and you know how my beard is long, it's like really orange. So they were like, "Oh yeah, good enough." It was fine, up to a certain point, and then it just like we realized like, hey, the date. So I'm sorry, rewind. When you're stand-in, you get treated a little bit better than an extra, but you're not as good as like you have a part.
Talent.
So you're somewhere in between. So we were hanging out on set the whole time, just waiting for our turn to do something. They would call us in, they would do that stuff, whatever. Da, da, da. So there was just like the snacks table. It wasn't like the lunch and dinner table. But we went through 3 meals because of how long we were there, like in one day, and that's like 16 hours. So it was like, so by the end of it, you saw the same snack table, and you had just been sitting there forever, not doing anything. Like, man, if I have to eat another one of these fucking dumb cookies or whatever whatever this is here, like, it's like you wanted real food by the end of the day, and then we never actually broke for a meal, which was wild, union wise. And then so I got paid a ton of complaint money, which is like, if you get wet, if you miss your meals, if you in this artist atmospheric smoke, you get extra money. And that whole day was at the end of the day was where I finally met Stephen Amell, the guy who plays Casey Jones, and I showed him a picture of Nery's Oliver tattoo that's from the show, from the Green Arrow, et cetera, et cetera. At that point, they had wrapped him, and then they said, nope. He's got to go back on set. We forgot to do one shot from like the beginning of the day, and then everybody was just yelling at everybody, and nobody wanted to do anything. And I got the picture right before, like Stephen Amell was like, "Fuck this day," like before he walks off. But it was like genuinely like the director didn't know what was going on. The director of photography was just like, "Fuck this guy." It was hilarious. It was pretty funny, and I was just sitting there like getting paid like a little bit more than minimum wage and just eating snacks and sitting.
Mike's eating snacks. He's like, guys, I know what really good food is. I live in New York City. This is bullshit. And
I mean, he would be right.
That was a callback to when you said that food.
I was like,
yeah, I was a callback to when you said that food.
Yeah,
in,
but
in
it's
Italy
just
sucked.
No, the food in Italy was not good.
It's just
By the way,
last
Mike,
time you went, go and tell me how it goes.
I have gotten multiple people messaging me like, Mike doesn't know what the fuck he's like. They're angry. Like, you could sense the anger in their text. I'm like, wow.
Tell me where they would have. I rather have gotten. I want like names and places because that's what I'm saying.
My
like,
wife being one of. But
when's the
there's
last
plenty
time
of
they
people.
went?
My wife went like 3 years ago.
Where?
She went to like 8 different cities, man.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
isn't like 8 different?
But
I wasn't there because I wasn't invited. So I can't tell you where they ate. I cannot tell you where they ate. All I can tell you is that my wife went to like 8 different cities in a 2.5-3 week span, and
get her on the phone. Send her the link to join in the room here.
Mike wasn't questioning her about her food choices.
She was like angry. But there was multiple people. I have multiple people. Like, I have another friend of mine who saw that clip.
They weren't on the trip I was on.
I know, but I'm just telling you. But
you also did a very last minute trip. Remember? We talked about
no.
I think the statement that tipped everybody else, that tipped. And again, I say this to everybody, including my wife. I was like, I've never been to Italy, so I have no dog in this fight. Like, I cannot, by any stretch of the imagination, disagree with Mike. All I can say is, that's the first I've ever heard of that. Like, I've never heard anybody else say that. That's the most I can say, because it's the truth. I've never been to Italy, because she didn't invite me. But what I could say is that the comment that flipped everybody, and again, this is I'm talking about 3 specific people that wrote to me.
Okay.
Are they Italian American?
I know no. Aside from my wife, no, my wife is the only Italian American. The comment was, I know good food because I live in New York. And it's like, what? And it's like that comment specifically.
Fuck them, whoever said that. I don't that is a weird way to judge how good something else is. By I'm comparing it to stuff that is objectively like good. Like, I know what tastes good to me and where I've had good food, but like, for the hype that I was given about Italy and their food, it did not live up to the hype. I'm judging it on the sliding scale of the trip that I went on, that I did, of the places that I went, that was not as good as I've had elsewhere for the same shit. Look, and I'm not talking about different shit. I'm talking about the same shit. Got you.
I just have a hard time. I have a hard time believing that it's
everyone. I did too.
It's been 15 years, Mike. It's been 15 years.
Thousands of dollars. I couldn't believe it.
I'm telling you, like, I haven't been back in 15 years. However, considering how old Italy is and how long it's been around and its track record, I can't believe that in just 15 years it would have fallen off.
It's funny because their food was great. Their food was great for about 2,500 years, but the last 15, really just took a dip. That was
You
during the
can't-
last
okay.
15 years. Like,
All right. I will say this.
I missed it. I think I got the last of the good food. I got the last of
Everyone-
the-
I will say this. Everyone that
Take a dip.
has recommended places recommended, and that's the thing. We had a million locations placed that were top tier recommendations, like people we trust, and then stuff from like travel blogs and stuff from that we were like, these are the great places. We'll just go to any places on this list would be great, because people were bombarding us with the same thing that you're thinking of. Oh, I went here and it was amazing. I can't believe that
you
in
go to
15
Sbarro.
pizzeria, that's about get a New York slice. But when they told me all of these places, when we finally got there, it's like Times Square food. Like, because we were in the touristy areas, we had to choose. We were like, are we?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, do I have a fixer that's going to take me to some town 3 miles out in their car to their grandma's house so that their grandma cooks? And also, I will say, 15 years ago, the service industry was better everywhere. Everywhere, like
sure,
like pre-COVID, forget about it. It's a totally different ball game. And then that was also
God, you're still in New York. God, you're still in New York.
What did I say?
Forget about it.
Forget about it.
Like, you motherfuckers forget about it.
Maroon.
No.
Oh God,
Forget about it.
Jesus.
Forget about it is
Forget
a
about
universal
it.
term at this point.
No,
But it was the sauce in
No.
it. It was there was
Yeah.
I
There was
wish
there was-
I wish I'd go over there to get the sauce on it on their fucking food over there where they're bullshit.
There was a gravy on it. There was.
And all of that fucking New York Italian bullshit is Southern Italy. The Northern Italians don't know what the fuck you're talking about. It's like saying all Hispanic people are like Puerto Ricans, and then
Well,
you're
that's
like,
why everyone like everyone assumes that like my family like would be good with tacos, and I'm like, that's a very specific area
Exactly.
in Central America.
that's what all of
But-
this over
but-
here, the gabagool.
But
is.
also,
That's what it all
but
is, Southern
also,
Italy.
Stephanie, they would be good at tacos though.
It would be.
They would be good at tacos.
I mean, I still would
Because
be
here's
better
the
at a
thing,
taco. than,
unless
like,
you're
other
buying,
friends here, 'cause I season them.
unless you're buying fucking store bought shells, your tacos are probably gonna be better than fucking regular. You know what I mean? You could probably tacos are not a difficult food to make. You could fuck it up because you could go buy store bought hard shells that are flat at the bottom so they could rest on your plate, right? You could
I've
buy
had
it. You could
They're
do
so
that.
good.
I've had friends
That's
put
perfect.
carrots in their tacos.
Yeah.
Sure, it depends on what's in the taco.
Can I tell you?
No, I've had
Can I tell
I've
you
had
that
white people
Daniel
taco night
DeBona?
here 'cause of
Daniel DeBona was on an episode of WuBro after you specifically talked about the white people tacos, and I didn't know what the white people tacos was, and you informed me, and I don't know what that means. And Daniel DeBona was like, when Stephanie was talking about the white people tacos, and you asked her what does that mean, and she gave you the definition, he said, and I quote, "Oh my God, that's how I eat my tacos."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, you're white, so that would make sense."
White people taco
taco
night.
night.
Get the taco shit. I love that. There's like
Yeah.
but white people taco night is great as a tradition, not necessarily cuisine, but still it's fun to build your
It's unifying.
yeah. It's
I think the Taco Tuesday night is fun. That's a fun. The theme,
sure.
the fact that it's Taco Tuesday or whatever the fuck, or or I don't know, whatever else you wanna, whatever other
Wings Wednesday.
yeah, some shit like that. Whatever the fuck you wanna have, or fish fry Friday or whatever the fuck.
Ooh, that's good.
Oh, I like it. I like
I
that
like that.
actually.
But
want
other than
that.
that, but other than that, don't buy, like, get season your chicken, season your meat, like that.
I do love the idea. Like it feels true. Like all you see about, like, there has to be white people out there that do season their food properly, and they're like, "Look, I get it. We have a bad track record, but I get it."
I love that. I have introduced multiple friends to adobo by now, and like I have friends who literally go out and find it and source it in like gourmet shops here.
I also do think
specifically so they can be
Latinos are like use 2 pounds of garlic, so of this much fucking onion powder, and it's like Jesus Christ, and they're like seasoned, or they'll throw like half a cup of sazon completa, and it's like Jesus Christ, like we get it.
Fuck yeah.
You're not a culinary mastermind putting a seasoning mix on your food.
there's a real fun.
But they don't. But the thing
wish-
is, to them, it blows their minds because they're like, "But
Yeah.
you just get the mince and you cook the beef mince and you're done." And I'm like, "There's so many other things you can do." It's
Yeah.
impressive.
I'm just shocked that like I get that it's got to be true.
The basics, just the basics.
Generalizations are true, but it's just like
Yeah.
like when I see people. Oh God, I saw somebody on the internet get their ass chewed out for rinsing the meat under the water.
Oh, I saw some. Yeah, rinsing their chicken.
Somebody was rinsing. Well, rinsing
Someone-
the.
they rinsed it with Dawn soap.
Oh, yeah,
they
yeah,
were like
they-
where it's like wash your chicken, whatever, before you cook it.
It was clean your chicken. It was
Yeah,
clean your
yeah,
chicken.
yeah.
I'm cleaning it, and they were doing the Dawn, and yeah, that's poisoned. You probably shouldn't eat that anymore. You should
Is it
probably throw that
though?
away.
I think Dawn was one of the safer options. Actually,
would
I think
recommend- I
Dawn
would
was
actually
one of the
think-
safer options
Yeah,
because
probably
they also
all
use
right.
it on animals. Like, I think
mean-
someone said, if you are gonna do it, do use Dawn because it is one of the safer options. And I was like,
Properly
okay,
rinsed? I don't know, but
takes
it's,
all times, I guess.
but it was like after they cooked the ground beef that they put it under the water, and I'm like, okay,
Like,
where did you
after they
learn this
cooked
from? Who handed this down? Like, why did you assume this would
Isn't
be
that
good?
am
I've
I
seen
the
people-
asshole?
I've seen
Didn't
people-
we have the am I
I've seen
the
people
asshole
wash
like
their
that?
rice. Like, I've seen people wash their rice after they cook their rice.
Yes,
Yeah.
that makes 0
I'm
sense
just
to
like,
me.
No.
Didn't we have that? Am I the asshole like that? Where the girl was like, my dad washes it
The
down and waters it
spaghetti.
down, and then the guy was like, yeah, I do, and like, oh, you've been eating fucking regular ass spaghetti, you dumb bitch, whatever the fuck it was.
Was
That's the
it
intent.
something?
That's the intent. Like, yes,
That
your
was
dad
the-
used
that
to
was the whole-
cook the spaghetti, but
then
like
wash it
the
down.
specifics,
Rinse
and
off
then
the
wash
extra
her
sauce.
spaghetti
Yeah,
Yes, something crazy.
then
so
yeah.
that she could have tomato essence.
the essence of
Yeah,
tomatoes.
and well, like all "Am I the Assholes?" they all have the general vibe of like, "You happy now, bitch?" You know, like or whatever the like
Ah.
a weird.
You've been eating regular tomatoes, bitch. That's not an essence. That's that's the actual tomato, bitch. Like you said, like that's how I read that the whole time. I was like,
A lot of these
Yeah.
always feel like someone's just doing something on the way out of the relationship. Like it
Yeah,
has to be just like,
Just break
fuck you
up
and
with
your
them.
spaghetti.
You didn't have to Rube Goldberg a breakup. You could have just broken up with them.
I think it's fantastic. The Emmys came out. The Emmy
Yes.
nominations came out a couple.
Should I
weeks
read the
ago.
title
yeah?
of the show in the show?
What's it's not
or
the
the
title? That's the
description.
description.
We talk about Emmy nominations coming up.
Oh, do we?
Nery
Okay.
meets Mike's mom. Yes, that did happen. And fake accounts fuel the Snyder Cut online army. Could the
Mhm.
rumors be true? What?
So I met Mike's mom at my show at the Improv. Did she get kicked out?
No,
Or
no,
is
I
she
got
back?
it.
Hey,
Okay.
I'm right here.
I
was getting,
met Mike's
um,
mom at my show at the Improv a couple weeks ago, and it was funny because I didn't know what she looks like at all. Like I have no point of reference. I have no like
I refuse to believe you've never met her up until this point.
never, ever. And
How
the
is that
only point of
possible?
the only point of reference that I have about your mom is actually her husband, and it was that story you gave about the boxers, the flame boxers.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
And that was 1,000 years ago. That was like year one of WuBro. And I asked him that at the show. I said, he said,
On
oh,
stage?
oh no, afterwards we did a meet and greet.
Oh.
And then afterwards he said, oh my God, it's good to finally meet you. And I only knew it was him because your mom had introduced herself as her mom, as your mom.
Right.
Like, so if she wouldn't have said, I'm Mike's mom, I would not have known that was your mom. Right. And so I said, I'm
I'm
Mike's mom. Like,
shocked
oh my
that
God,
that's
finally
true.
meet you. I said, finally meet you, whatever. And she said the same thing. She's like, I'm so happy to finally meet you. I feel like I know you. I feel like you're my son and blah, blah, blah. And she was very nice and sweet.
Aw.
Yeah.
And then her husband says, yeah, I feel like I know you too. And then I, again, context, putting two and two together. That's your husband. Right. And then
Right.
all I said was, did you bring the flame boxers? And he goes, not today. I'm like, oh, yeah. And then there's that.
I'm blown.
But he didn't
away.
miss a beat. He
Yeah.
did not miss a beat. He wasn't like, what are you talking about? He was like, nope, didn't wear him today. Like he just like,
Yeah.
he immediately knew what I was talking about. I was like, okay.
He knows they're infamous.
He knows.
Yeah,
Yeah. I did that joke in front of them. But yeah, no, I'm blown away that you have not met up until this meetup. At your
I haven't met
show, how'd that
I haven't
show
met
go?
I haven't met Yolanda, but we follow each other on social media.
Sure.
So I feel as if I see Yolanda, I have a point of reference as to like, oh, that's who she is. This is what she looks like. I have no
Right.
point of reference of who your mom is, because her Facebook at one point, which her and I were not friends at this point, was something different. It was not her picture. It was something, I don't know what
Sure.
it was. And then you made a comment. It was a Zeros on Hero comment, and the hero that was talked about on your podcast was Santa Claus.
Right.
And you said about how when did you find out Santa Claus was not real? And then you said, oddly enough, my mom still thinks that Santa Claus is real. That was a
Right.
comment you put. And then me, being the smartass that I am, I was like, well, she also voted for Trump. So I mean her level
believes
of
in a lot of
belief
fairy
here,
tales.
yeah, believes in a lot of fairy tales. That was my joke, but I'm so stupid that I don't realize, hey, parents are also on Facebook. And and then your mom replied to my comment and said, wow. And I was like, oh no. Oh no. And again, this is like 7 years ago already. This
Yeah.
whole thing happened 7, but I had no point of reference to what she looks like.
Yeah,
But I met
yeah.
her. She was great. She was super nice and lovely. She was amazing.
She was dying to go to your show. She because we recorded was it Kickflix? What did we record? And then she
Sure.
had talked to me like right afterwards about like I remember because you were like before we were recording whatever, you were like on the phone about the show, and I was like, oh yeah, man, I hope that goes well. And it seems like it went really well. And then my mom like messaged me right afterwards, was like, how do I get tickets to Nery's show? I was like, oh great, yeah, here.
How does your mom sound?
Yeah. Did she sound like Gilbert Gottfried, or did she?
That's not my mom sound. She
Oh,
talks
by the
like
way,
that.
before we talk about the Emmy nominations, I did see.
Guys,
Apparently, this
sorry.
happened a month ago.
As an aside, I have to get rid of this stuff that's next to me because it's distracting. My house smells like Snoop Dogg's living room.
Oh, there's lots of
Dave just
natural
got Dave just got prescribed, and he's still trying to figure out how everything works. So it's very funny to see this very square man being like, "Oh, my Kush came."
my Kush. Oh, how lovely.
And I was just like, Jesus Christ, it's so distracting.
It's
yeah,
is it legal over there or medicinal?
Medicinal.
Okay.
I think it might become legal, but
For those of
I
you who can't tell the difference, Stephanie's actually not on the screen right now. I know it's hard to tell whenever she is on the screen because her sweater's the same color as her background. But you can't
But I
tell.
wish I could take the feed and add it onto you, like so that you could
and
see
just pick me different.
like the
Like
green
later
screen
on, call
heads
it like
floating
any
around.
listeners who wanted to screen grab, just put my head in different situations.
Oh, don't invite.
Oh,
No, never mind.
don't
You know
open
what?
that.
I take it back. I take it
Mm-mm.
back.
Don't invite
Take
that
that.
evil into this
Don't.
life.
That
Nope.
is
I fucked up. I fucked
that
up.
is a lot, and you're underneath two men right now. This is not going to end well. This
I
is not gonna-
rescind my previous statement.
I immediately regret this decision.
I immediately. Nope. I was here
Before we get to
innocently
that-
thinking like in a bubble, but no.
No. Anyways, so I saw this a couple nights ago, and I don't know if it's still available online because PBS, it's the Mark Twain Award for Humor or whatever the fuck.
Sure.
This year's recipient was Jon Stewart.
Oh,
And
okay.
I saw two clips on Instagram. One, Dave Chappelle's speech, and again, it was just a snippet of his speech because his speech was like 5 minutes long. And then
They
a
give long
snippet-
ass speeches. In
yeah,
in
and
that
his
award.
and his snippet, and then I saw another snippet of Jon Stewart's speech. And those two, first of all, Chappelle's snippet itself was like, I need to see the whole thing.
Hmm.
And then when I saw Jon Stewart's snippet, I was like, I gotta see this. So then I went to go look for the video, and they still had it available, but apparently, according to the website that I was on, the PBS site, it said that it was gonna stop being available like as of yesterday or the day before. But that shit was so fucking funny. When I mean fucking funny, first of all, Chappelle opened the show with his speech, which again, it because of who the recipient was of it being Jon Stewart, the mix of hilarious and heartfelt was so palpable. Was so like you were like hurting from laughing one moment, and the next moment you were about to cry because you were like, man, the love that you see between these people is amazing. But let me tell you something, Steve Carell, holy fuck. I was cackling by myself in my cabin by myself,
Fuck, now I
laughing.
gotta watch it.
And Jon
Yeah.
Stewart literally said, "Stop, please stop. I can't anymore." Like he could not laugh anymore. It was fucking gut wrenching laughter.
Wow.
It was so good, so
I gotta
good. I was
watch.
like,
My favorite one
That's
so far
heartwarming.
is the Julia Louis-Dreyfus one. Which did you see her?
that was great.
her
Now, I
speech
saw
where
again only snippets. I only saw
Yeah, yeah.
snippets, but I saw like 5 of them, so I feel like I saw the whole thing. But I saw snippets of her. Of great. Of
So
course.
funny. That's
Yeah.
actually those award shows, the Kennedy Center Honors, are some of the best like live music performances that you'll
Yes.
see, like Heart covered Stairway to Heaven
Dude,
when
it was
did-
what's his name? The Jersey guy, the boss, whatever the fuck his name is.
Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce Springsteen was there, and I was like, and I'm not a Springsteen guy at all, but I'm like, fuck, this is an amazing cover of Come Together. Like, this is an amazing cover. I'm like, this
Those awards.
This guy's got a future. This
guy's good. This guy's good. This
You're gonna hear about it someday.
He's going places. This guy's going places.
This guy.
But it's really good, man. I don't know if it's still available to watch, but fuck, I am willing to pay and buy that. Like, it's so just there was like nobody was bad. Ed Helms was meh about it. Ed Helms gave a speech. He was meh about it, and then the 2 people that called in video were Stephen Colbert and John Oliver, and they were. It's fine. It's not the same as live. It's not the same as being there live.
Yeah, the energy is different.
But everybody else fucking killed it. Olivia Munn did well. Like, it's really like people who aren't even comedians. I was like, man, you guys crushed. But again, it's not just a comedy, because the comedy was great, but it's also the weaving in and out of heartfelt, of like of appreciation, and then sprinkled in with comedy. I think was just chef's kiss, man.
Think you can watch it if you become a member at pbs.org. You're listening to PBS 13 here in New York City, the Jon Stewart Kennedy Center Mark Twain Prize.
This is part of Mike's Reel.
No, just like slowly, I just get so relaxed, and I'm not even saying words anymore, man.
It's just vibe, just tone.
It's all vibes all the time. You're listening to Mike and Midnight Mike at 97.2 Coast. We're gonna be coming live.
I love Midnight Mike.
Midnight Mike is the best.
He's great.
Midnight Mike is either on drugs or having a severe medical emergency.
He's having a stroke every night.
The toast smells like bacon chewing awards, and
I'm jealous that there's like the alliterations for the letter M are so much better than for the letter N. Like anytime anybody's trying to alliterate,
you do have nap time Nery. Like he can go on with Midnight Mike.
What if you were the loudest guy?
Nobody goes to listen to the radio during their nap time. Like, I got nap time. Let me go listen to the radio.
Actually,
Midnight Mike
sounds like nap time radio.
Midnight Mike sounds like an actual fucking moniker for some radio DJ. Like Midnight Mike. No, but nobody's like, nasty Nery's on the air. Let's go check him out. Like,
hey,
nasty Nery. Yeah. It's just old Uncle Al songs.
Oh yeah.
No, yeah.
I have friends call me Nasty Nery after Half Baked when it said Nasty Nate.
Nasty Nate.
And then they're like Nasty Nery, and I was like, what the fuck is that? Where did that come from? And then there you go.
N is not. Yeah,
it's not as cool as M, man.
It doesn't feel like Midnight might be saying N words. You'll never catch me saying N words. You're listening to here at the WuBro Radio. Listen to Midnight Mike. Hey, is it tomorrow? Coming at you tomorrow every night. Midnight Mike coming at you after midnight on the coast. Sorry. I'm enjoying the character.
I want a whole bit of Midnight Mike.
I'm enjoying Midnight Mike a whole lot.
If I don't see a TikTok or a reel of Midnight Mike anytime soon, it's gonna be upsetting.
It'll just be this. Just clip me this, and I'll post it. No, man. No, I gotta keep. I'm stuck in it. I gotta shake it off because I keep wanting to do Midnight Mike every time I lean in.
You discovered a new facet.
I read a book, people. I read a book.
Hey, congratulations!
Hey,
Technically, I have read 2 this year, and I'm on my 3rd now.
Congratulations! That's
you're
actually
doing better
good.
than me.
Yeah,
There
good
you
for you,
go.
baby.
Doing
I
better than me.
read my friend Angela Johnson's book, and then I read the Matthew McConaughey book, and then I am now reading Will Smith's book. Finally, that I
Fine.
got like 1,000 years ago.
I do love that 2 of the books are people you've actually like worked with and met, like and
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
It's like I will
What-
only read a book if I have a personal stake in this.
Did
Yeah,
Mike
no.
write? Steph, have you written a book? Have I written a book? No, that's what we got to do. For
No, I'm saying that I love that. That's actually his prerequisite. It's like, no, I need a personal stake in this.
Yeah,
So you're
well,
reading these nonfiction books about people. Do you like
Biographies, yeah.
biographies? Like I say nonfiction as to imply that. Do you like reading about real stuff, or do you prefer like novels or made up stories?
Well, I don't know because I don't really, I'm not a reader. So my extent of reading has been comics for the 1,000 years. And my problem is I say problem because I legit believe this is an actual problem. Actual reading a book puts me to fucking sleep. That's my midnight Mike. That's my nap time Nery. It's fucking reading. Anytime I read something, it puts me to like I read something for 10 minutes and I'm fucking gone, dude. I'm like, oh my god. I'm like,
You got
I gotta
well. I
So
read on my
now
commute.
they have
so.
now they have audiobooks, and that's what I'm doing. So that's what I'm listening to now is the
Actually,
audiobook. Yeah.
It
Which
still
I don't
counts, but
consider
it feels
I think it
different.
still counts.
I don't consider it reading. I consider you ingested the book, you digested the book, but you didn't read the book. I think reading is reading and listening
How do
is
you?
listening.
Yeah, like I listened to the book.
I listened to
Yeah.
a few audiobooks. I
Yeah.
do people specify I listened to a few audiobooks.
Right. So
Some of the audiobooks I've listened to
same
have
shit.
been better. Have been like some of them are harder to get through than the actual reading because of the narrator. So if you have a bad narrator,
Yes.
it sucks.
So I'm glad
yeah.
you said that. I'm glad you said that because after I read Angela Johnson's book or / heard Angela Johnson's book, they were like, "Oh, you have a free book available to you," and I was in between. Like, should I? I've heard amazing things about Bossy Pants by Tina Fey, which again
I've
is
wanted to read that one, yeah.
I'm a fan of, and then I've also heard phenomenal things about Steve Martin's book, Born Standing Up.
Yes, yeah.
So as a stand-up, I'm like, I'm gonna read the Steve Martin book. Plus, I already read Angela's book. That's one broad. I'm not gonna read 2 broads already. One book, 1 year. That's crazy.
Too many.
Too many.
Crazy
already. So that I said I'll get the Steve Martin book, and let me tell you, bro, he's reading it again. Something that I thought was gonna be a plus. It was fucking not. His reading of his own material was by far the most. It felt like Midnight Mike. I was like, what? It was just very monotone. There was no acting involved for him. It's his words. There was no like. It was just and then in summer of 1940. Yeah, there was no showmanship. It was like in the summer of 1947, I had a job across the street from Disneyland. And in that job, they came up, and it was just very. And I listened for like an hour and a half, and I was like, "Yo, I can't." And I told Missy about it, and Missy's like, "Yo, you can return it." I go, "What?" She goes, "Yeah, they let you return these books if you don't like them." I'm like, "Fucking done." And I returned. I didn't even finish the book. I'm like, I don't like it. This shit was garbage, and it's only because of the narration. Because I'm sure if I read it, it was. But then I bought Matthew McConaughey's book.
Fuck, was he? Oh, is he? He does
so
like a
good.
Southern Midnight Mike the whole time.
But he is so good. Yeah. He is
talking
so
about Matthew McConaughey.
fucking.
It's just entertaining to hear his voice. I'm sure, like no matter what, you just like.
But he laughs and he sings when he's talking about singing. He's actually singing. He's actually doing it. Like it's all fucking.
It's a performance.
Great.
Yeah,
it's a performance. Same with Angela, but Angela was the very first book that I actually heard all the way through. So I thought that's what it was. Where I thought, so the only other experience I had with audiobooks was like 10 years ago when I thought, oh, I listen to podcasts, I can listen to audiobooks. And then I thought I bit off more than I can chew. And I got The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. And
dude,
it was
that was your no.
I didn't know. I didn't realize. So the narration was so fucking too much. So I'm like, all right, whatever. 10 years later, I meet Angela, we're friends. She writes a book. And there's a code for so I get the book, right? I buy the book not only hardcover, but I also do the audio version.
Right.
but the way she reads it, it's fucking fun, right? She reads it, she acts it out, she does it. It's a performance. I get Steve Martin's book, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I assume that everybody, if it's your book, I'm thinking to myself, if it's their own book, it's gonna be way better. They're gonna perform it better.
You know,
Because
you
it's
gotta let
their
Angela
word.
know that Steve Martin didn't reach her bar.
Well,
I did-
here's-
Has to be kind of
I
like-
gotta defend
has to
Steve
be
Martin
kind
a
of a
little bit.
boost.
Audiobook narration is it's supposed to be extremely monotone and like it's the way it used to be, that if you listen
Then he
to
accomplished
it
that.
wasn't
He
an audiobook
accomplished that.
because it was probably recorded when it was a book on tape, so they were recording for like it wasn't like a format. There wasn't podcasts, there wasn't
Yeah, but
and all the
what
books
does that
on
have to
tape.
do with it? Even if it's a book on tape,
And
don't
then-
you're still
How long
putting
ago was
on
it
tape.
recorded?
that maybe he was directed just to read the fucking book, like I'm telling you,
Maybe.
that's
Man,
the-
I'm
that's
not- I'm
the-
not-
listen
I'm
to
not-
listen to old
listen.
audiobooks.
I'm a fan of fucking Steve Martin, not his stand up. I'm a fan of Steve Martin's movies. I'm a fan of his performances. I'm a fan of his TV show, the Murders in the Building. I think it's
Yeah, I love that
phenomenal.
movie.
So
that show.
so again, I'm not bashing Steve Martin. I'm saying I did not enjoy his reading of his own book. And
Yeah.
and then Matthew McConaughey upped it up another notch. And now I'm listening to Will Smith. Because again, Will Smith is an actor. Like that's what these people do. Like so now it's like it's very different. Like Will Smith has like music in the background when he's talking about how he got into hip hop. He actually puts the song in the back. So it's a whole different vibe. Man.
What's that guy's name? Malcolm Gladwell. His books, his audiobook, the new one, Talking to Strangers, I listened to, and it was like that. It's basically just like his book as one of his podcasts, which I like. And he's got a real Midnight Mike vibe too, if you listen to him talk. It's super like ASMR, very relaxed. But he does his podcast, Revisionist History. That's fantastic. That book is like a long extended episode of a podcast where he plays clips from the interviews, and it's basically just like he made a podcast out of his book rather than doing an audiobook, and it was fantastic. And it really goes into a lot of the like current shit with like cops and Sandra Bland and all kinds of shit. It was really, really interesting.
So
Really good
that's
book.
so to answer your question, I don't know if I would like nonfiction because I've never heard the only nonfiction book that I try to read or hear. The only fiction book that I tried to listen to was 10 years ago was The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Right.
And I was not ready. I was not ready.
There's some really good I like the Harry Potter books. The narration is great. Like the audiobook narrator is fantastic. The fucking I'm just trying to think of like books that have, because I go get your library cards, because you can get all this shit for free on Libby. It's an app. If you have a library card, you just find your library and then you can check audiobooks out for free.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, you just need. I have the Queen's Public Library.
This podcast is no longer brought to you by Audible because they heard this and they were like, "Oh, fuck this guy. We can't."
Yeah, but it could still be sponsored by Kindle, because if you have Kindle, you can receive your library books straight to your Kindle. Ha ha ha! Amazon.
Ha ha. Suck it,
Amazon. You're listening to
Except,
Mike. This episode
I like Mike is like, ha ha. Suck it, Amazon. Or I mean, we like you this time today. I don't know.
I was gonna say, I'm like, now you want to be in Facebook?
Mike has a very complicated relationship with Amazon.
Tell me about it, man. Hey, that is a legit statement, man. It is complicated how much I hate and need Amazon to live. It sucks. It's so bad.
You are in an abusive relationship with Amazon. Like, no,
Kinda.
but
Who's
they're
not?
gonna change. They could I don't give a fuck what you do evil. I don't care what evil you like. I'm fine. Give me my shit in 2 days. I don't give a fuck.
Okay, so this sounds like the chick that's like, I don't care if he sees other people. He's paying my rent. Like,
yeah. He's shipping me paper towels next day air.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't know.
We don't have it. We don't have it like that over here.
We go to Aldi. My wife and I, Chiquita and I, go to Aldi and just
stop bragging.
To say, but no, man, to save. That's the cheap groceries, and it is.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Stop bragging.
No, that's where we live. I'm not bragging. I'm saying, please help Midnight Mics, and please donate to GoFundMe for. Please join the WuBro Pod Cash App.
Cash App.
$WuBro Pod.
$WuBro Pod, and you could be the first one to donate. Whoever. Oh, by the way, Steph, a comedy club booker. I forgot to forward you the email. Emailed you the other day at WuBroPod@gmail.com, asking permission to use pictures that you took in their club at one point in 2015.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll forward you
You
that
have to
email.
forward that to me. Yeah.
I forgot.
No,
I
let's
just
conduct
the moment
this
I,
business
Let's
on
get this
air.
business on air.
but the moment you said, oh, you could be the first one, and I was like, oh wait, speaking of which,
Hold on.
somebody did email us, and that was they wanted to know what your bra size was. That was awkward and weird. I told them, but it was.
I told them,
so
but
weird.
then
Seamless
you had to,
edit
but you
points
had
for
to, but
Nery
you had
Stein.
to, but you had to direct them to the WuBro product Cash App.
Yeah,
that
I'm like,
information.
I want to cash app. We have a new Patreon, and they paid. They actually were the first ones to pay to get to the level of watching the after hours, the WuBro after hours.
Oh
And
yeah,
there were
we gotta do more of those.
Yeah, we got to do more of those. And they commented on Stephanie's hair and they were fans, and I was like, oh, okay.
I love a good
Hey.
like there's so I watch a lot of D&D on the internet, and every once in a while you'll catch like a random stream.
We get it. You slay pussy. Take it easy.
Yeah, no, I
I watch a lot of D&D on the
the
internet.
the
too.
irony is my cuckold nature prevents me from I every once in a while like I'll get on
When you
there's-
cuckold, is it a dragon's fucking your chick?
it's called an owlbear.
Is it
It's never mind. Don't worry about it.
Sorry.
There's
very specific.
oh man, I can't remember the name of the place. Oh, okay. There's a website called nobody.live. So it's people who are streaming to no one. So you can jump in and be like the one person that watches this person streaming. Like you might be like like it's interesting to see people streaming to no one and if they're trying. And I remember I've stumbled across like these home D&D games that are streaming, and I get like engaged. Like I'm like, okay, no paladin, no, don't do that. Like, and it's just like and then like they're just playing their home game online, and meanwhile I'm like watching it like I would any other entertainment. So what I'm saying is this is just as good as Jon Stewart. Where you at, Mark Twain Awards? Where you give WuBro a Mark Twain award, or we're just as
Recognize
good.
our shit.
It's true. It's true. I mean, Jon Stewart had, helped pass a bill to support the 9/11 first responders, but we do jokes about
Midnight
Amazon.
Mike.
So
Yeah,
we're the same thing. It's the same
Midnight
thing.
Mike begging for the Mark Twain Award, please. Please validate our existence.
Validate our existence.
Sorry, Mike. I'm just also picturing you being like a Midnight Mike as a special guest. Sasquatch. Just
Oh,
having
my
those,
oh,
switch
sorry.
mics.
Sasquatch.
Like,
Can you
Sleepy
imagine
Sasquatch.
Sasquatch on NPR? Sasquatch on NPR, because he can't be the same
He
guy.
can't be
right?
as loud.
He can't be as loud.
No, it can't be as loud. How
Did
do
you see the
do
wheels
that
turning?
voice?
I'm like,
Yeah.
You're like, how
do I
do that voice,
So-
but
Yeah.
sleepy.
So can I tell you? There's an interview with
Sorry,
Hank.
you're running
Hank,
it through your head.
I know. There's an interview with Hank. As what's his name? The
Hank
guy
Azaria?
that does. Yeah,
Yeah.
Hank Azaria. There's
Love
an interview with
him.
him talking about how great Mel Blanc was.
Yeah.
And he gave the example of Mel Blanc often would do this, where he would do Daffy Duck as Bugs Bunny,
Mm-hmm.
and then in return do Bugs Bunny acting as if he was Daffy Duck. And he goes, he goes like, do you understand what has to happen where you have to? So he's giving this interview, and he's like, I can't do a poo as somebody
As
else.
Chief
Like
Wiggum,
it doesn't work that way. You either do a poo or you do Chief Wiggum, but you can't do one doing the other. And he does it flawlessly. And when you listen to Mel Blanc doing these things where you watch Daffy Duck as Bugs Bunny, you're like, how the fuck is? And he says that he brought this up at a table read for The Simpsons, and nobody could fucking do it. All those voice actors, all those amazing amount of talent in that table, everybody started trying to fucking do it, but they were like, "It's I can't. You what? It doesn't work. It doesn't calculate." And that whole thing, when I'm watching that interview, I'm listening to that interview of Hank Azaria. I just physically saw in mic when I said Sasquatch on NPR, and you're like, like his brain broke. And like,
I can do it. I need to practice it.
Yeah.
I
expect it next week.
It's
the
too
intro to
guttural
be.
because Sasquatch live down here, and he
He can
very
get
much
rumbly.
Sasquatch
Use
is just
the rumble.
it's like Starlight Sasquatch here. Yeah, it's like like the whole voice exists. Like it would just be like too grumbly. Actually, I need to.
I love how Starlight Sasquatch
I need to get this right.
is
Starlight.
he's a
Sasquatch.
Muppet.
Sasquatch,
He's a Muppet.
Starlight Sasquatch.
Man, I wish one of us had like we're all. You see, the problem with this group is that we're all like thinkers. We're all like we're all idea men. We're like, what would be great? This would be great. And it's like, why don't you do it? Nah, we don't. None of us follow through. And none of us are follow through people. None of us are like follow through or like actually do shit.
If we follow through with half our ideas, we have a media empire.
Yeah, we
but
have
to
the
follow, can you
WuBro
imagine
media.
if one of us were a fucking animator, like if one of us, because I have a friend who's a comedian. He's actually with me on the ship this week. He's a comedian, and he had so many voices in his head, so to speak, that he taught himself how to animate. Because he was like, I got it, and then he like, and it's not the best animation. It's not fucking Pixar. It's not the best animation, but it's something, right? If we could animate Starlight Sasquatch, I am picturing Starlight Sasquatch right now, and it's such a fucking like.
Yeah,
I would love to take my kids to watch a Sasquatch movie, like a Bigfoot movie. Yeah, that'd be
Starlight
great.
Sasquatch coming at
Like,
you.
I think that's why I like
Yeti,
the reason.
Space Yeti coming at you from your drive time hours into the evening. It starts to sound very much like a shitty Dracula. That's hard. That's a tough position because that's one of the things they say. Like I did a voiceover class that they were like, the reason why a lot of times you hear people do their own voice, like in their like the guy who is the voice of Zuko in Avatar: The Last Airbender. Thank you, baby. The Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Do you mean the
Dante
chef
Bosco.
of the chef of the frying dragon?
No. Zuko is the young guy. He was Rufio in Hook.
Oh, right,
so that guy has been in a ton. But
he's also the guy's also in there, right? The frying dragon guy is also in.
Yes, he is in. He is in. He's Mako. He's
yes, Mako. There you go.
Uncle Iroh. Fuck. What was it? Oh, he did like if you listen to all of his voiceover work, it's just him. It's just him doing his voice.
He has a very
specific voice. So a lot of these Simpsons actors, except for like the ones that do like a million characters, because some people do just like one character. Like Nancy Cartwright
only one person does that, and it's Lisa Simpson. Only one person does one voice. Everybody else is like, here's 17 characters, and Lisa Simpson's like, hi, this is my regular voice. That's it. That's
but she also has a very unique voice too. Like she says it. Yeah.
And she's 75 and she still has she's not 75, but you get what I'm saying. Like she's a grown woman.
This is why I love people like Tara Strong, because Tara Strong, like you can kind of hear her in the roles that she does, but only if you've heard a bunch of her stuff. And she's just good being a little boy.
It's like what's her name? Who did Chucky? From the Rugrats.
That's her. Or no,
she was Tommy.
She was Tommy.
Tommy. That's what I'm talking about. Tommy. Yeah. And she did Babe, right? She did Babe, and then she passed away. But way to bring the room down, Steph.
I didn't.
No. Tara Strong is still
alive.
The one who did Babe the pig.
The one that I didn't bring up and you brought up.
Yes, that one. Duh.
Oh, what the hell?
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that I made you think of a sad thought. With your brain.
Yeah, well, now you know better. Do we have a mighty asshole? Because I got to be young.
Don't let my brain do things.
Yeah, I have. You posted one, I think. Where is it? Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah. Am I the asshole for correcting for Midnight Mike coming at you with the name of the asshole? Am I the asshole for correcting my coworker about something? I can't believe I'm going to write this, but I do not know. No, I got to do regular voice for this. I do not know whether or not I'm actually this insensitive during this time and age, or if this is an extreme overreaction. But I'm going to let you guys decide because I like to assume you guys are more emotional savvy about this topic. So here we go. What a weird disclaimer.
Yeah,
That sounds like buttering
that's-
up, but okay.
Yeah,
No,
you're like,
that's
oh,
no,
they're clearly.
that sounds like somebody who's been told. That sounds, you know what it sounds like somebody like what's his name from Big Bang Theory. They've been told multiple times you're not good at social interactions and you're not good at
Oh, right.
reading other people's emotional
Gotcha.
surroundings. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't pick up on social cues.
Yeah.
So about 2 weeks ago, me and another coworker were talking about the topic of chocolate milk, and well, she's one of the 10% Americans, 10% of Americans that actually believe that chocolate milk comes from brown cows.
She's 7?
You mean children? She's one of the children.
And then he writes in parentheses, correction. Apparently, someone commented that 7.4% of Americans actually believe that chocolate milk comes from brown cows, which is a lot less than 10%, but still a lot.
More.
Yikes.
Yeah, but
I
still,
admit-
7%. But children are also Americans. I don't understand
that
why
counts.
that's hard to believe.
Again, not specified in the article.
Right.
I
Yeah.
admit that I guffawed a bit, to which she took offense to. How do you not laugh at this? But I ended up apologizing, but telling her that I thought she was a bit silly and told her that chocolate milk is actually just regular milk with chocolate syrup, to which she got defensive and said that she didn't believe me. God, this is so reflective of modern situations. So I asked her if I could show
I
her
have
proof.
a website that I went to, and the website
Yeah.
tells me that chocolate
Yeah.
milk comes from brown cows.
Chocolatecowtruther.eagle. Whatever.
Someone was homeschooled.
Yeah.
CocoCowFlatEarth.net.
So I asked her if I can show her proof that she was wrong, and she dared me to do so. So I brought regular milk and chocolate syrup from a nearby store during my lunch.
That's a lot of
Mix it up
commitment.
and give her yeah. So
I
mix
would
it up and give
so
her to
do
drink.
that. I
Yeah.
would so
Hold on.
fucking do that.
So you're
She
petty.
she ended up drinking it and just left in a huff, and apparently just told our shift manager that she was leaving for the day because she felt attacked by me and demands she needed a mental day. To which the shift manager didn't approve of, but she left anyway, so whatever. Wow. So she could just pick up and leave without manager approval?
Yo.
A white lady. But apparently this whole thing got everyone else's attention because my coworker made such a big scene about it. What it apparently attracted enough attention that my store manager had to personally call me to his office yesterday and tell me about what happened that day. Oh, where's
What he said. Tell me what happened.
Oh, I lost
Right.
the second page. Hold on. I didn't know it. I didn't know at the time, but I really offended that poor coworker of mine so much that she told my store manager about how she couldn't work with me anymore, and that she even reported me to HR for discriminating against her beliefs, and that I apparently caused enough mental damage that she couldn't even go back to work due to how much I humiliated her over chocolate milk. My store manager even wrote me up and warned me that the next time I acted in such an offensive manner like that, I would be fired.
The fat part doesn't make sense.
I
That
mean,
seems like
I'm
a leap
already quitting and starting a new job anyways, but I'm worried about whether or not I'm actually the asshole for this and if I should be more careful at my next job. Edit.
Sir, why the reason for leaving previous place of employment? Chocolate milk.
Chocolate. Brown cow chocolate milk. I edit. He added this afterwards. I ended up adding a fact because someone fact checked me, and I ended up fixing the part about the whole regular milk and chocolate syrup since people were getting confused. So is he the asshole? Because I have thoughts about this.
I have questions. Like there's certain questions I have because the thing is,
Yeah, where does she think strawberry milk come from?
because I've never seen a pink cow. But that's not the question. But Nery's right.
Well,
That
that's why
is
the
the big
strawberry milk
question
is so
to
much more expensive because the pink cows are so rare.
The pink
They don't
cows
allow
are
them
so
outside,
rare.
otherwise they tan, and then they get turned into brown cows, and then they go from strawberry to chocolate. And only when you
Edward knows this.
catch that's why the swirl is such a revolutionary thing, because you catch mid transition from white cow to brown
Mid-transition
cow, and that's when you
from-
get the ice cream.
From pink cow to brown cow.
Yeah.
Then you get chocolate, strawberry chocolate milk.
That's how you make
It's just a shame you have to
Neapolitans.
kill the
Like,
cows to get the like what?
I was gonna say Neapolitan ice cream was just like a polyamorous like cow throuple.
Yeah.
Anyway, the question was
What is your question?
okay, because obviously that the manager didn't approve anything. That this woman made a bit of a scene, but the manager wrote the other person up for the way they acted. It makes me wonder: is there something being left out in the manner in which they did the confrontation?
Yes.
Because I was like,
it begged, this whole thing is like, I got a question. Like when she stormed off, when she drank the chocolate milk that wasn't produced by brown cows,
Right.
and she stormed off, did he
without permission.
do the Nelson from The Simpsons and point at her and go, ha ha? Did he do
Right.
that?
Should have.
I want to
Yeah.
know what level of like did he
Like,
just
did he like slam a chocolate milk, like a milk and a thing in front of her and like do a bunch of like, was he aggressive? Like,
That's
there's so
my-
many.
okay. There are so many, well, actually, kind of guys out there that I
Mhm.
absolutely believe that at a certain point, you're just, I was just correcting her about something.
say my
I-
name, coward?
Huh? Well, no. I'm not even saying like, because I'm not even saying like the way that you do it, because you're funny. I'm talking about there's plenty of people out there like someone who would need to put a whole
Yeah.
social cue disclaimer at the
Yeah,
beginning
but
of
you
the
know,
post.
but you know who wouldn't think it was funny? The person who I'm fucking ragging on. The person who I would be yelling at, the person who, as they're storming off, be like, "Where do you think
Okay.
strawberry milk comes from, bitch?" Like I would like that person doesn't think I'll be fun. Everybody else, all the coworkers would be fucking laughing. Oh, that it would be hilarious. The fact that I wore a T-shirt the next day that said "brown milk comes from chocolate milk comes from brown cows," like all that, I would do that. So that would be funny, but she wouldn't think it's funny.
As my
the
parting
coworker
gift
would.
for that place, like when I leave, I would just bring like a bunch of chocolate milk.
Bunch of
I
chocolate
would just
milk.
be like bang, bang,
Just
bang, bang, gallons of chocolate milk.
A yoo-hoo on every desk.
Yeah.
I'll just chocolate. I would just
I love
literally, I would bring donuts and be like, "Hey, I brought donuts and milk," and it'd just be all chocolate milk, and they'd be like, "Is there only chocolate milk?"
Yep. Is this
No,
about-
this guy's. I don't think this guy's. I think this guy's an asshole, but not in the way
right?
not in the way that this whole article is like based upon. Like, am I the asshole? No.
She is also very much an asshole. She
Yeah,
is
oh, she
very
is-
much an idiot.
Oh, dude.
Who
To
is
me, I'm sorry. To me, the
stubborn.
moment you get me in trouble with my boss over a disagreement that you and I had on a personal conversation, you're fucked up. You're an asshole. Completely an asshole.
Unless it's
'Cause-
For me,
justified.
it's the wording of the discriminating against her beliefs thing about
Yeah.
something
Yes,
about a
that's-
fact that was just wrong. That to me is the asshole behavior on her part because she's
And-
trying to bring beliefs into it and she's trying
Yeah.
to bring in a personal.
Hey man, you can
And
be
the
wrong
way
about stuff.
and the way he
Yeah.
worded it, and again, we could only go by what the person posts. The way he worded it is he asked her, "Can I prove my point?" And she dared him.
yeah.
So he was like, "Challenge
is-
accepted."
This is what's wrong with everyone who I hate is that they're wrong about something. But the fact that they're wrong about something doesn't necessarily mean that they're worthy of hate. It's when you dig into the wrong, when like people
Yeah.
point out to, like if you're like, oh no, like every Trump thing, every vaccine thing, every anti-masker, all this bullshit. Like every time it comes up where it's like, hey, if you're basing your stance of some worldview on this piece of information, that information is wrong, and you're wrong about something. the second you're wrong and continue to argue your point, where you like, hey, you've been proven wrong and you're still arguing.
Yeah.
That's when it's like, okay, you're an asshole. Like, okay,
The moment you know you're wrong and you still
Yeah.
choose to continue, that's the thing.
like when
Because
you,
I don't believe that I don't believe that these people don't realize they're wrong. You know, when they're proven wrong, like the Daily Show had this whole thing where they would go to Trump rallies
yeah, that's what I'm
and they
saying.
were
Those
and
people
they would be
suck.
proven right, and it's like, this whole thing where he was like, oh, grab him by the pussy, and she was like, well, that's just the way boys talk, and then he was like, oh, does your husband talk that way? No. Do you have sons? Yeah. Do they talk that way? No. Also, not every guy.
Well, that's
Right.
not a
And then she
genuine
still
answer.
dug in and be like, but every other guy, and it's like, oh,
That's the whole thing about like
Yeah.
at the anti-abortion rallies of like choose adoption. They always, it's like, oh, well, how many people have you adopted? And they're all
Yeah.
like, oh no, I couldn't possibly.
Yeah.
You know, like they always like hem and haw because they know they're wrong. Like those are bad faith arguments. Those are assholes anyway. But if you're
Yeah.
wrong, and you're choosing to argue a point because it gives you some.
But why are
other
you
angle.
getting HR involved? I don't understand. It's a fucking conversation
Yeah.
about milk.
Yeah, because
why are
she
you
got
getting
proved wrong about something and
she
she's
got-
bitter
she
about
got-
it. That's not real.
No,
None
she's
of
not
that's real.
bitter. She's not bitter. She's embarrassed.
Embarrassed.
Yes.
She has to work with this person who in the back of her, like now he's living rent free in her head, where now she believes at any point in time when they're working next to each other or around each other that he's gonna be thinking this bitch thought chocolate milk came from brown cows.
You know, to
And
be
it-
fair, I don't think it says anything about gender here. So we're assuming it's a guy, but it could equally be a woman correcting another woman.
Sure.
be.
I
do
I-
appreciate
I
that
am
we all
per-
landed on the same thing, that this is
I am
some dude.
I am absolutely personalizing it because that's just the way I am. I am
Yeah.
the guy that go buy chocolate syrup and milk at my lunch break. I'm that fucking dude. So
Yeah.
like that's how pedantic
I think
I am.
I think
So
I'm
just-
mostly basing it. I'm mostly basing on the fact that I've had in the past. I've had someone who worked for me who dug in stubbornly on a point against another coworker about something that could have been nonsensical and could have been dead, and then the manner in which they dug in became
Right.
looking like aggressive, and it was a man. Just because sometimes you have to be aware of your size and what it does.
Oh, you're talking about me now? Yeah, because that happens to be all the fucking time.
say
Look,
names, coward.
You're aware that you could be intimidating to people because of your stature.
Yes.
So you yourself are probably a person that when you talk to someone, give them safe spaces unless you want to intimidate them.
I've been made
And
aware
then-
of how large I am on many occasions. And I have
But
been
I
also
try to
scale-
give a person
Yeah.
that disclaimer once. I try to talk to them and be like, hey, don't do this again because you are this tall and towering over this person in this close of a space. It's scary.
yes, but
And then they did it
also
again anyways.
also
I
shut
was
the
told
fuck
that
up.
about my kids. I was told that about my kids. To be
Yeah,
honest
what
with
they were
you.
saying was okay.
I didn't know that. I didn't realize that I was like, hey man, they were doing some crazy, I don't remember what it was, but it was something crazy like chocolate on the walls type of like craziness. There was like, I was in the office for like 5 minutes, come on, there's chocolate on the walls, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? And I do that. And I saw my daughter like literally cower. And immediately I was like, oh, I'm not gonna hit you, dude. I was
Oh,
just
my bad.
fucking
Yeah.
I was wondering about how the craziness that you did with the chocolate on the wall thing. And when I told my wife the story, my wife was like, yeah, man, you're a big dude. You
Yeah.
gotta, and this is what, and to add insult to injury, this was at my heaviest. She's like, you're a big dude. They're like tiny people. These kids are tiny, and like you're yelling over them, and you get mad. Yeah, that's and then I got made
It was
aware
like
that
hurt
I'm like,
your
oh.
heart too.
It did. It really did. I was like, because I remember going like, what the hell's wrong with you? And then I was like, why is she cowering? And like immediately I was like, and I was
Fuck them
like,
kids. They need to learn. What I'm saying, I like it's true.
they're gonna learn today.
They're
They're
gonna
gonna learn today.
I'll tell you this: my parents, I will say, because I kind of want to. They have all used their size to intimidate me as a small child. You know what I mean? Like that is a parenting tactic from back in the day.
I
You know what I
met
mean?
your
Like-
mom. That you must have been 3 years old when that
I was a
happened.
kid. How old are your kids?
Yeah, my kids are not. My kids are 10 and 7. But I'm saying
I would have been shorter than my mom.
you
still.
must have outgrown your mom what by the time you were 4.5, you were taller than
I
your
mean, I
mom.
was probably My
Your
mom.
mom's a small lady.
No,
My mom's a
she's
small
not
lady,
that
bro.
small. Eh,
She's smaller than me,
yeah. I don't
and
know.
you're way bigger than me. You're
That's
way
true.
bigger than me.
But the point
How
of it
tall is your
is
mom? I'm
that
picturing a very tiny person now.
she's
She's
not.
on
She's
my
not.
she's on my Instagram. She's on my Instagram.
She's not
In the
tiny.
in the post that I in the thank you post, the
Yeah.
Miami Improv photo dump number 2. She's in there.
I've been in the situation at work where if I spoke to people in the tones that they spoke to me with in return, that I would be, but because they're tiny older women, they're not viewed as threatening words. But if I was like, hey, if I turn around and I said loudly and I exclaimed that I'm not letting you out of this fucking room, that would be a threat.
Terrifying.
Yeah, that is a crime.
But like either way, they shouldn't be doing it. They shouldn't be doing that shit either.
Exactly. The thing is that now it becomes a thing of like, okay, so if I'm exclaiming it, if I like, I had actually have this conversation with someone at work a few weeks ago where it was like, I'm like, hey, the messages aren't getting through. You need to like, I need to know that I can rely on you to forward these messages. Otherwise, I have to speak to the people directly, and you can't be in between. And she's like, excuse me, and she got attitude. Are you saying I'm not doing my job? And I'm like, are you disagreeing with what I'm saying in terms of passing the messages along, or are you mad at the way I said it? Because those are two different things, and either way, we can have a conversation with management present. Because I'm not going to do the back and forth. I was like, no, go away. Because I'm, like the second in a work environment you engage without, then it's a he said she said thing. He betrayed my personally held beliefs. Nah, man, you need witnesses. You need witnesses.
Yeah, I've always told people that, like, stop having your private conversations and then getting upset about it. Like,
Mike was screaming, and I was like, I told you were wrong about something. Yeah, but loudly. And it's like, and then I point to the other person that was in the room. No, he wasn't. And it's like, okay, are we clear? Someone just lied. So, and I have evidence that it was not me. So who's at fault here or whatever? Who cares? You know what I mean? Like, that's the whole point, is that you had to the people who dig in when they're wrong, that's what makes you the asshole. I think he's kind of, he may have come off as an asshole, but that's speculative and it's not in the article, and Midnight Mike would not agree. But it is like, I think she is remarkably the asshole for for something so egregious, something like potentially like this could be fake.
It's literally not even spilt milk. It's like literally like just
if she would have laughed about it, like, oh my god, I'm so dumb, and it would have been a good laugh. It would have been a good laugh, and everybody would have moved on. That's all that would have happened.
Yeah, she would have just joked it off and just pulled it off, being like, "You've changed my entire worldview. I don't even know what else I believe is true." She could have gone with it.
Just lean into it. You just lean into it.
Yeah.
Have you ever been that wrong about something though?
Never.
That's a rough one, right? Like how wrong?
It's pretty fucking.
As an adult,
fucking bad.
As an adult,
as an
a child for sure. As an adult.
When's the last time you were this wrong about something as an adult? This woman has a job, at least a teenager.
Okay, so I
will say, sorry, we'll be quick. I will say that the only times I've heard someone say something so wrong, like so obviously wrong, to the point where it's laughable, I have told them they're wrong in private. I have pulled them aside and been like, hey, before you keep believing this,
that reminds me of like
mermaids are real.
Reminds me of that scene from Family Guy, Star Wars, when he was like, "Oh, I've shot wombats that size or whatever," and then the pilot comes up to him afterwards. He's like, "Hey, man, the way you called me out in that meeting, that was pretty embarrassing." Like, it's just like having a conversation.
It was really, it is aggressively like, no.
Yeah, like, no, like, I'm the new guy here. I'm fucking like, hey, what the fuck? Calm down, Luke. Take it easy. But
Luke, what is it, Skywalker? Okay, fine, whatever.
Okay. All right. I did. What was I wrong about recently? I don't know. Oh, so I was at the Miami Improv Green Room, and this guy comes in. We're talking. He's like, a friend of ours, and he talks about that his shoulder's messed up. That he had a torn nerve, And I said, what now? He goes, yeah, torn nerve. And I go, torn? He said, yeah. I was like, no, I don't think that's a thing. I think, do you mean ligament? And he said, oh, yeah, he means ligament. So he meant ligament, or at least that's the way the conversation ended. So me and the other comedian are busting on him for saying torn nerve, right? Then we go home and tell my wife, oh, yeah, fucking. And then he says torn nerve. And we're like, what the fuck? And then she's like, yeah, no, that's a thing. My wife was like, that's a thing. I go, what? She's like, yeah. So then she starts looking
the whole
up.
basis of your mocking was
the whole basis.
the whole foundation of your insults to this poor man. He's like, oh wow, that's really rough.
That's right. And then I was like, did you mean ligament? Like, bro, if you got a torn nerve, you're dying, bro. You're fucking dead. Your arm is like looking like Thanos and shit. Like, I just did this whole fucking thing. Like, we're just ripping on him. And then I go home and tell my wife, and my wife immediately goes, yeah, no, that's a thing. You go, what? No, that's not a thing. And she's like, yeah. And then she reads these things, and then there's damaged nerves. There's other way, but the phrase torn nerve is not really used, but there's other words, there's other things that mean the same thing. But it's not really what was the other one? Disconnect something with a D where it's like
dislocated?
No, it's like detached nerve,
detached nerve,
detached nerve, blah blah. So all of these things mean, like when you Google torn nerve, all these things come up where it's like this is what torn nerve means, but they don't use the phrase torn nerve. So it's so funny. So I go back and tell the other comedian that was helping me with this fucking job. We're like making fun of him. And she's like, are you fucking kidding me? I go, no, bro, we were dead wrong, man. We were like fucking wrong. And she's like, bro, that's hilarious. That the people that are making fun of this fucking guy are the ones who are wrong.
Yeah.
Like, that's hilarious. Yeah. Never, by the way, I still have yet to
never told the guy.
Oh, by the way. I mean, it's only been a week and a half, but I've still never been like, my bad. You were right. Which, by the way, he acknowledged. He said there. He goes, "Oh, torn." I said, "I guess. Do you mean ligament?" He goes, "Yes, that's what it was. I mean, so he meant ligament."
Ah, okay.
So it's kind of like,
or he was just going along with it.
It's like, maybe. Yeah, whatever, man. Yeah. Something in there's fucked up. What do you want me to tell you?
Something in my shoulders. Something in my shoulders fucked up. So
yeah.
Like, it must mean that. I guess you said that with such confidence.
I forgot who was I talking to where I was like some people need a lesson in learning how to say, I don't know enough about this topic to have an opinion. You know, like I don't need to have an opinion.
That's us in on every episode of this podcast. That's us every episode. We're like, we don't. I say that all the time. You know what? One of the things I'm very proud of as a parent is me telling my kids is how often I tell my kids, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know that. I don't know the answer to that. That's a good question. And I think
how long before the kids are like, Jesus, fucking dad's a dumb. God damn it.
Dad. So you know, but I say things like
chocolate cows.
So I think I think that the reason why I feel comfortable saying that to my children more so than my parents and the parents before our generation is that we have a supercomputer at the palm of our hands that we could find this out. So as before, when you didn't have that, parents would just lie to you and be like, they're never going to figure this shit out by the time, you know what I mean? Like, everyone, but I'm one of those, like, we come from a generation of parents now or we are the generation of parents now where we're like, I don't know. And if I give you some bullshit, you're going to fact check me. So how about I just acknowledge that I don't know. I tell you, that's a good question because it is a good question. Never thought about it that way. Let's go look it up. And we go look it up and we fucking learn together. Like, that's one of the things that I enjoy doing with my daughter because she asked me some crazy shit that I'm like, I don't know. How would I know that?
Yeah,
how would I know that?
Children are inherently little scientists.
Do sharks like the taste of snakes better than fish? I'm like, I mean, I don't know.
Wow, that is a great question.
That's a great question. I'm like, I don't know. She's like,
I would love that tangent.
Her follow-up is because electric eels are a form of snakes. And they're kind of fish. So do they like those? And I'm like, well, no, let's have this conversation now. I want to have what am I
like this hypothesis. Work it out.
Yeah, let's work this out.
Yeah.
Anyways, I gotta go. You guys continue your show. I gotta go. Love you guys.
Continue with Midnight Mike coming at you. Midnight Mike.
And Sleepy
That
Steph.
time Nery saying goodbye. Sleepy Steph coming on the air. Yeah. No, but we'll wrap it up. Because we're already an hour. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you for listening to Sleepy Sasquatch What is it? What is it? Starlight
Like
Sasquatch. The Space Yeti coming at you. Please continue to listen.
Is he like Alf? Is he actually from space?
Did you not know that we had a whole?
Oh yes,
we had a
cousins. I
whole
forgot you guys are
Chewbacca,
related. Yeah.
some Ancestry.com Chewbacca nonsense that came up with
Yes.
Bigfoot and Sasquatch and Cousin Yeti. But we are all indebted to our half brother Cookie Monster, who has the same voice as Sesame Street. Thank you all for listening to What's Up, Bro podcast. Thank you from Nery Signs, from Mike Mercadal at Mike Mercadal. Remember to listen to all the and Stephanie Mayer Sr. And remember to listen to all of these shows on the What's Up Bro Podcast Network, the geekbro.net, Geekbro Podcast Network. My bad. Sorry. Mike apologizes. Midnight Mike apologizes. Pero let me tell you, what is it? Childlike at Best with Mike Valdez. We have Mount Geekmore that has the archives you can go check out, and Kickflix podcast.
I'm so sad that you guys don't ship yet.
I know.
I can't have Kickflix gear.
You need Kickflix gear. We have a ton of stuff. Yeah, you can go check it all out in the links in the bio on whatever you're listening to this podcast on. If you are listening to the audio version, you can watch the live version live on Facebook and YouTube, the What's Up Bro channels there. Thank you everyone for watching, and that's how winning is done.